When we're talking about congruent triangles, it's very important the order that we write things in. So if we look at this picture, angle X is the same as angle T. So angle X is congruent to angle T. Angle Y with the two curved marks is the same as angle R, which means angle Z is congruent to angle S. So when we write our triangle congruence statement, we have to do the angles in the same order. So I'm going to say triangle XYZ is congruent to triangle TRS. So it's not just saying that the two triangles are congruent, it's specifically saying that the first angle in each statement is congruent. The second angle is congruent. And the third angle is congruent. Okay, so there's a lot of information in there. All right, so looking at this, if we say MAK is congruent to TOD, that means M is congruent to T, A is congruent to O, and K is congruent to D. All right, so in that case, we can see the line segment MA has to be congruent to the line segment TO because they're positioned between congruent angles. They're both equal to 5, so that makes sense. So if we're trying to get the line segment OD, well, it has to be congruent to AK, so it will be equal to 6. All right, so if we have a congruent statement, the first angles are congruent, so angle Y is congruent to angle Q. Angle M is congruent to angle C. Those are the last letters in each triangle. Angle V is congruent to angle A. Line segment MY goes from the last to the first, so we just pick off the corresponding parts of this one, would be congruent to line segment CQ. Line segment MA would be congruent to line segment CV. The position in the congruent statement is absolutely essential. Line segment VQ goes from the second to the third in the congruent statement, so that would be congruent to line segment AY. All right, so if these two triangles are congruent, we see that angle A is congruent to angle S, so that's 45 degrees. And angle B is congruent to angle Q, so that's 80 degrees. So this missing angle, the 5x angle, we know from the triangle sum it has to add up to 180. So let's add up 45 and 80 at 125, and then 180 minus 125 is 55 degrees. So this angle is 55 degrees. It doesn't actually say to find x, but let's say it did. If it said to find x, we would just solve this. Okay, lastly, we can use this for angles and we can use this for sides. If triangle ASM is congruent to triangle ERN, so E is congruent to A, so it is 112 degrees. And R is congruent to S, so it is 31 degrees. Sorry, I should put my little degree sign on there. And angle N is congruent to angle M, so it is 37 degrees. Okay, so trying to find x and y. Well, 16x we now know is equal to 112. So x, just dividing by 16, x is 7. Okay, and I also know that 3x plus 4y, this line segment here, going between the 37 degrees and the 31 degrees, so that's congruent to this line segment. So it's equal to 41. Plugging in my 7, 3 times 7 plus 5y equals 41. That's 21 plus 5y equals 41. Subtracting 21, I get 5y equals 20. Sorry, my 5 seems to have morphed into a 6 there. Got a little careless. Okay. Dividing by 5, I get y equal 4.